The first question is about waiting and tolerating waiting for attention for a 5-year-old child. So I think the scenario is basically like, okay, so this kid can wait. You know, you can say, okay, here, you know, wait for this, wait for that. But as soon as it's for attention, then they just can't do it. So Hanley talks about it pretty nicely when he does any speeches. And I don't know if you've heard Gregory Hanley talk or not, but if you haven't, I totally recommend getting on YouTube, or the next time we're actually in person, maybe someday, Shira, we'll be able to hear him talk. But he says, you know, you can give a kid all the attention in the world and they're not acting up, or, you know, nothing's going on. And as soon as you go to put your coat on and walk out the door, or as soon as you go to open your computer or check your phone, that's when like the whole system breaks down, right? They're like, ah, and they just can't wait. So, you know, kind of what's the answer to help my kid wait for attention? I think our first question was, you know, can the child wait in other situations? So, you know, if the child can't wait in other situations, I would start with something like the marshmallow test. I'm not sure if you guys have heard of the marshmallow test or not. But the marshmallow test is really, doesn't have to be a marshmallow. It can be a candy, it can be whatever, but basically putting one item out on the table, something preferred, and then just saying, okay, wait. And if that child can wait, systematically increase the time. Start with a really low number. You may want to baseline it. It could even be 5 seconds. Sometimes it's a minute, sometimes it's 10 minutes. Wouldn't start at 10 minutes though. But anyway, you put something M&M on the table and you tell the child to wait. If that student can wait for the entire interval, even 5 seconds, then the timer goes off. Yay, great job, you waited. They get double the amount. So that's the marshmallow test. So if your child can wait for a specific item when it's right in front of them, then they can have double the amount when they've waited when the interval goes off. That would be the very first way I would teach waiting. Then I would also start to teach waiting, not just sitting down, but also standing up. So, you know, kids are standing and they need to wait as well, like waiting in line, waiting to wash their hands at the sink. That's a big one these days, waiting for those types of things. Once the student learns how to wait in those situations, Shira, what would you say, up to 5 minutes, 10 minutes?
I think look at their age and the environment that they're in and like what's natural, because it's not natural for a kid to just be sitting and doing nothing for 5 minutes, but they may be having to wait in line, you know, to go to the playground for 5 minutes. So it kind of depends.
Yeah, I mean, I can't wait for 5 minutes. If you tell me to sit and wait without anything to
Yeah.
do, right? But if I've got my phone with me, no big deal. Not that I want a kid to have a phone, but you know, if they've got a coloring sheet or something else to do and they're waiting appropriately for 5 minutes, great. I mean, realistically, waiting without anything to do, we typically teach it up to about a minute, and then after that, we give them something to do and still tell them to wait. That would be the first step. And then the second step would be, okay, so specifically with regards to attention, I'm looking at replacement skills, right? So can the student ask for attention? Can the student, you know, engage in various ways to get attention, you know, tapping on the shoulder, saying, hey, look at me, even, hey, I want attention. I look at what my kid does for attention. It's always, you know, what's this? Hey, look at this. Check this out, that kind of thing. So, you know, does that child have those key phrases? And if the answer then is yes, so that's step 2, then step 3 would say, okay, let's combine those. So you've asked for attention. Awesome. You've got the FCT for attention. Now let's teach you to wait and systematically increase that.
Yeah, and I love Hanley's approach because what he recommends is teaching it like discreetly, like have almost like a practice scenario, because very often when a kid wants attention, it's not always available. And then you don't want to, you know, be putting the FCT on extinction all the time, but at the same time, like you can't always be giving attention. So what I like about teaching it discreetly is like have that little, you know, couple minute of a practice session and say, every time you ask me for attention appropriately, like I'm here, you get extra attention, you get extra, whatever that is. And then eventually moving into generalization where they're using it in real life situations, and then the tolerance and delay comes in much later. So I really like that idea. Attention, escape, access, for any of those things is teaching it discreetly, practice it, and then generalize it after.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm just looking for it on the resource so that we can pull it up and I can show you where it is. So this is the behavior resource here. And there's 2 different places that you would find this. So in terms of the actual waiting program, should be in behavior. So here is the actual like Hanley's approach to things. So Hanley's got this tolerance and delay. And I would follow this for the tolerance and delay for specifically weighting. And that's where
it says my way, but it could be any FCT.
Could be anything. So you say, you know, oh, I would teach him for my way, teaching for escape, teaching for what have you. Just put in, hey, look at this for that. And then in terms of the actual weighting program, here's the weighting program, and it is filed under teaching strategies. Same thing in behavior. So you've got in here, probably on the second page, there's the weighting program right there. And there's some data sheets for weighting. And that says waiting quietly. It doesn't have to be waiting quietly. It can be just waiting without, you know, without interrupting, period. And that's where you would find that.